Hello,
Hello,
everyone.
everyone.
Hello, Richard. Okay, I think we can start. Um, Hello, everyone. Whether you've been with us for a while or you're just getting started to know us, we're really happy to have you here today. This is our first time hosting an open demo, so it's a bit of special occasion for us, and we're genuinely excited to walk you through what we've been working on. Uh, Please feel free to post your questions in the chat at any time, and we'll cover everything at the end. Or if we don't, we'll make sure to get back to you afterwards with a follow-up to all questions. So yeah, Richard will provide the demonstration, and in the end, we will have this Q&A session. I think that's enough from me. Richard, over to you.
Yes, 1 second. Thank you. Yeah. So I hope you see my screen. Basically, let's start from some basics how Kreo works in general. First of all, Kreo allows you to automate the entire takeoff and estimating process. And even before you start, you can have a lot of things to automate, let's say with item assembly database. This database can keep all your elements to be measured, different materials, labor, like you can see here. A lot of things you can save here, including codes, pricing information, formulas. You can be sure that they are correct, they are validated, any extra information like tile size, and so on. So this is the first aspect of the automation. You can have your database inside, so you don't need to create all the formulas each time, and so on. Then another thing here is project template. You can see here I have some template, and project template, this is something that allows you not to start from scratch. So you can create a couple of different templates based on project type, residential or commercial, or everyone in the team can have their own templates and all that stuff. You can see I can have some groups to be measured. I can have some links in my spreadsheet page because all these quantities, they're empty just because I don't have any takeoffs at the moment. I can have some configurations for my reports, so I control which columns I will see in my project then later. And at the same time, I can assign my items and assemblies from my database, which I showed you before, right here. For sure, I can do this later, but it's just a part of your template. You can have as many things from the beginning. Then, when you start your project, basically you press create project and then choose your template, like demo template, and upload your drawings here. 1 second. Okay, now I have my project created, and what is very important, you see, I have all the same as in my template. So now, if I go to any page, I can press apply scale suggested by AI and start my takeoff. For sure, Creo pays a lot of attention to the AI automation of your measurements. This is maybe the most time-consuming part of all the takeoffs, and you can have all the different tools, like for instance, auto measure to get all the quantities. For now, I'm going to switch to one of my demonstration projects here and show you how it may look like. So here I've launched before a couple of different features. And as you can see, I have pretty a lot of measurements. I can easily isolate measurements that I want to see right now, like for instance, all the walls. And you see I have all my walls, and all of them are divided into some groups, categories, and so on. The same, let's say, about finishes. Floor finishes, I have all these floor finishes. Ceiling finishes, very similar measurements, but still a bit different. And then wall finishes like that. All these measurements were created using AI. So after you have all the measurements done, you have really very flexible options about the reporting. So you can have integrated spreadsheet page. You can see all formulas, functions like sum if. You can have it here. This spreadsheet page is always linked to your measurements. So if you go to Foundations Lab group, you can click here. Kreo will focus you on this particular measurement. And if you make your slab bigger, you get new value here just instantly. Yeah. Other reports like measurement summary, area schedule, you can get all these configurations really quick and fast. Or using your items from your database, you can have your BOQ, estimate, proposal, or any other document, as you can see here. For instance, my superstructure, upper floor slabs, divided by my floors, and then by my items, with all the estimating data. For sure, when you work in your project, you can have lots of other really nice features which can help you, like compare pages, text search. You can use rename with AI inside your project here. At the same time, what you can do, you can collaborate really effectively with all your colleagues by leaving different types of comments, marking your colleagues here, they will get immediately notifications, and so on. Then let's go back to these outputs. So after you created all the measurements, split them into your groups, generated this reports preview, very important thing in the end is to get the output. So here you can see some preview for the report you will get in the end of the day. But at the same time, Kreo has a very unique feature, which is called custom report template. And this feature allows you to export your final document. In this case, this is a BOQ, but this can be quote, proposal, cost plan, or again, any other document here, which we set up for you. Then you press export, and now Kreo generates final document with all my final formatting. 1 second. You see? Here, this is the document I have. And as you can see, I have some front cover with your company logo. This pretty simple sample, I would say, but you can have any complicated documents here. And then I have extra pages for my chapters and sub-chapters of my BOQ. You can see that all the formatting, styling, it's unlimited in customization. And very important, all these values, these not just values, they are still formulas and functions if you have them like that. So if needed, you can change any value here and get updated total, updated value on your front cover, and so on. So just to summarize, Kreo allows you to get automation mostly on any step. Even before you create a project, you have project templates. In the project, you mostly use different AI features to get all these measurements. If we go back to the measurements, you can see here I have really lots of different measurements. I can also see them in 3D like that, just to make sure that I measured everything, I measured it correct, or for instance, my walls like that, and so on. And finally, you have really very flexible options about the reporting. So you can see it here. Then let's go ahead and speak about exact tasks that Kreo can help you with. And I would suggest to start here with walls. If we speak about walls, Kreo allows you a couple of different ways, as you can see here, how to get your wall takeoff done. So for now, let me hide all the takeoffs. And first of all, for walls, you have this very nice feature called AutoMeasure. AutoMeasure is a tool that works on any drawing with any drawing quality, but if it's structural drawing or maybe like MEP drawing, maybe it's not the best tool. It still can measure something, but mostly it's suitable for floor plans, elevation, and similar drawings. Then for the auto measure for walls, for instance, we can have this walls category. So you don't need to think about it. You just go to the auto measure, launch walls, and now, as you can see, Kreo goes and searches for all the walls on that particular drawing. Very important step from the very beginning, you see Kreo detected some search zone. This is a search zone that allows us to save time and you, so Kreo will not search something outside. But at the same time, you can make it smaller, so Kreo will be launched only inside this particular area. If needed, you can delete it or add new search zone. Then, if I zoom in, I see that now all my walls, they have the same color, but I can easily classify them using this classify option. If I speak about walls, I usually need to classify them by size. So activating this option allows you now to see all different colors. So each different color is just different size or width of your wall. And you can see here that we have some errors here because, for instance, these walls, they should have the same thickness, but Creo splits them into different categories. That's why you always need to validate it. Yeah. Additionally, you can do the same, but split them extra by appearance. So if walls are drawn differently, if they have different colors or hatching, you can use this option as well. Going a bit back, you can see AI confidence. Very important parameter because it allows you to control how many measurements you get. By default, confidence value is about 50, but you can make it less. So in that way, you can get a bit more measurements or more. If you get AI confidence higher, you basically tell AI to show only walls it's really sure that they are walls. Yeah. So usual range you really need is something about 50 to 80% of confidence, but you have this control on your side just to make sure that you can a bit filter your measurements. Then you can input wall height. You can choose like line style, line width, and finally press create here. So when you press create, you have all your measurements on the left. They are divided by the thickness. And now you can go ahead and validate it. For instance, here, maybe these are not walls at all, and you can just choose them from the drawing and delete. As we discussed here, we have some mistake, so I can choose this wall and change its name, change its color, or if I want to reclassify all the walls, I can choose them simultaneously. Now say that these are internal wall partition and press apply. Now I see that they have different color. I press green, for instance, and now all these walls, they are in green. Finally, thickness, I say that it's 100 millimeters, and now it's done. If I want to input their height, I go here and say height as 3 meters. So now I get additional quantities. You see, I have by default count and length, but at the same time, you can get bottom area, vertical area, and volume as some additional measurements. So the same thing in 3D. If I go to 3D, I can see now all these walls with height I inputted. If, for instance, I choose these walls, which are now at the moment are not presented on this 3D view because height is empty, but if I input height as 5, I can see all these values, and I can definitely see that these external walls were higher than my internal walls. Yeah. If you have any questions about the walls, you can send your questions to the chat and we will review them later. And for now, I just want to go ahead with walls and show you some other options. For instance, if we speak about walls, you may want to get your wall finishing. So Auto Measure has the same default category for wall internal finishes and wall external finishes. You just the same logic, click on any of these options that you need right now, and using the same square, Creo goes inside it and tries to find all your room scenarios here. The same logic Creo launches it, and now you can split them by size or by appearance. For instance, here I would prefer to split by appearance, and now you see that walls where I have the same color, let's say light blue or dark blue, like here, they have the same color. And also, if I don't need any classification at all, I can deactivate both points and have all these measurements in the same color, like for instance, maybe this pink. What you can do here, you can do all the same options. Rename with AI if you want to have this measurement name. If you don't need, you deactivate it. Then the same parameter for AI confidence. And also, each category in Creo may have some particular parameters that allows you to control how exactly Creo creates these takeoffs. For instance, here you can see that all the doorways, they are included, but you have option to remove these doorways. If you launch it here, Creo will go from the beginning, and now we'll recreate all your measurements, but now without all the doorways. 1 second, let us see. So we launch it from the beginning, but now you see all these doorways were removed. So for sure, in some cases, Creo can miss some doorway, like you can see here. And this is a perfect example where you may need some AI confidence improvement, because if you make it like less, Creo will find this particular doorway, and you then can get this removed. If you want to remove this manually, Creo has all the necessary tools to do it. Just as an example, I press again here Create, and I can choose like this particular line, choose for instance knife tool, and I can cut this particular part of my measurement. So now this is individual piece. 1 second. And you can see that now I can just delete it and get this part of my measurement removed. So in the same way, some other categories, they may have similar controls. And if we go back to wall internal finishes, here you can control doorways and windows. So if you want to remove some windows, you can use this option as well. Yeah, so pretty all about this wall takeoff generation. Now let's speak about how we can move your measurements into the right groups. So here I have some groups like wall finishes, and very simple logic. I just drag and drop it here, and now all these measurements, they changed their color to the red because my group has a red color, and they are located here. If you want to move some of your measurements, it's very simple. You just select them from the drawing, let's say, and the same logic you can use drag and drop, or another option, you can press on Move To button. So this button is located here and here. So if you press Move To, you can choose any part of your group breakdown, like for instance, maybe internal walls, press Move, and now it's done. You can see that all these measurements, they have this green color, and they are located here in walls, internal walls. So this is how it works. Just to summarize, Creo AI can generate most of your takeoffs, but after you need to go through them, see that maybe something was missed, or vice versa. Maybe Creo measured too many walls that you don't need. You can delete them and then split into your measurement group breakdown. If we go next, the next possible task you may have is to get different room areas, floor areas, ceiling areas, and so on. As you can see here for my finishes, I have individual measurements for floor and ceiling. Usually people don't do it because it's very time consuming to measure them individually, but you can see that my floor measurements, they have these doorways included. Ceiling, no. So how you can get it? Pretty simple, using the same auto measure tool. You have default category called room scenarios. If you go to auto measure, click here, Creo now goes and tries to find all your room scenarios. Again, you can get the same set of all these measurements, yeah, and use these measurements for your ceiling and for your flooring. It's up to you. But if you want to have more accurate takeoffs, you can choose here additional options like include walls or include doorways. So after you click include doorways, again Creo relaunches it, and now you see all these doorways, they are included 50-50 to each room. If you deactivate this option, you have it back with no doorways, so we can get such kind of ceiling takeoff. Very important step that Kreo has all the necessary modification tools that allows you to do all the right edits with your measurements. For instance, you can see if I press create now, I can see that this measurement is a bit mistaken. So I can manually adjust this takeoff just by dragging this line here and get this takeoff correct. If I don't need some of my measurements, for instance here maybe, I can just choose them and delete in the same way. Lots of other options like merge couple of measurements together and so on. You can get all of them here. And in the same way, it works with 3D parameters, what is very important, because by default, each area creates count, which is total 36 for these measurements, perimeter and area. But if you want, you can input your height. And if you input it like 3 meters, you get your volume. So each individual measurement now has not only area and perimeter, but also vertical area and volume. The same, I go to 3D and see all that stuff in 3D. But at the same time, you can input height as maybe 0.3. In that way, you get it like thickness. So now I have something like slab maybe or ceiling. And again, my volume has changed according to this new height value. You may wonder what is offset. Offset is a special parameter which controls visual distance between your drawing and your measurement. So now this measurement, it looks like it's on the ground, but using offset, for instance, 3 meters, you can now see this measurement flying in the air 3 meters on top. This is how I got this visualization for my finishes for my ceiling. So you see offset, it has no influence on takeoff. If I make it empty, I don't see any difference, but it definitely allows me to see that the measurement is located in the right place. The same logic allows me to get this part of my wall on top of the door. If I isolate this measurement, you can see that it's basically my wall. But how I got it, I launch doors and windows from the auto measure and then input offset as 2 meters. So it allows me to get more precise and accurate takeoff here. Yeah. Then, if we speak about similar task with floors, you can have some extra categories like gross internal area, gross external area, or net internal areas. These are different general areas of your building. For instance, net internal area, this is how I got my apartments. You launch it and get all your apartments. Again, using rename with AI feature allows you to get your unit name automatically. You can see here, and if you go to rename with AI, you can give custom prompt. And here you can tell for AI, for instance, to remove area from your measurement name and leave maybe only unit. So here you can input any custom prompt, like for instance, remove areas from names, and press improve. Now Kreo will rename it, and you see now all the areas are removed because maybe I don't want to see them here. And in the same way, it works for any other category. Then you can see that if I have the same task for my finishes, I have my floor finishes, and for some areas, they are a bit different. For instance, bathrooms are not included. For sure, you can adjust it manually like that, but at the same time, Creo has very nice, perfect tool called one-click area. So if I hide all my takeoffs, you can see that one-click area is here. How it works, it looks like a manual tool, but basically this is pure AI tool. So it's located in this top bar with all the manual tools and AI tools, and very simple logic. You have this area and you want to measure it. You make a click in the middle of this area. Please note that first takeoff, it takes a bit longer because initially AI analyzes your entire drawing. But now you see a preview, and to confirm it, to have a takeoff, you press enter or create here, and now I get this area and perimeter. So this tool, why you may need it? If auto measure, for instance, gives you not exact measurement like you want, you can easily get any complicated custom specific takeoff using one-click area. The same, you see, I made a click and AI suggested this measurement for me based on my previous takeoffs. But now I make a click here on top of this store and Kreo goes and updates my measurement, so the store will be excluded. In the same way, you can get any really very specific or very complicated measurement. Going back to this example, I can click on top of my countertop, and now Kreo excludes this entire countertop from my takeoff. In the same way, you can get mostly any takeoff. Again, I start from this double bedroom. I have this preview. I make the second click, and you see Kreo goes and measures this entire flat for me. But maybe I want the entire flat without bathroom because this kind of wet area, and I can get it like that in just 2 more clicks. So any specific complicated measurement, you see Kreo goes and creates it for you. And again, it can do like really long, big measurements, like for instance, this corridor. I make a click and AI measures this corridor, maybe with this area that you don't need. So again, just make 1 more click on top to tell Kreo that you don't need it. And for instance, you want to measure the entire footprint, you can make your second click, I know, somewhere here, and maybe 1 more click here. So Kreo, you see, goes and measures your footprint. If you want to include walls, just 1 more click here, and Kreo will include all the walls into your footprint. So this one-click area tool, it's perfect for some specific measurements, or where if you need just, I know, maybe 1 or 2 takeoffs from the drawing, no need to use auto measure, launch it, select the search zone, when you can use one-click area. And just to show you the capabilities, I want to launch it here on this really low quality drawing, just quickly to show you that auto measure works here. 1 second, run anyway, with all the same quality, all the same options, and the same about one-click area. If I go to one-click area tool, I make a click here, I have this preview, and then I make a click on top, and I have this part, I know, black part for TV excluded. So this is how it works. Going back to this category, maybe you need some specific rooms. So Kreo has also custom prompt in AutoMeasure. Custom prompt allows you to input any specific text, and Kreo will go and search for this particular, let's say, type of your room. So if you have it here, you can input like bathroom, and Kreo will go and search for bathrooms. So it will create all areas for your bathroom and so on, as you can see here. And again, do not forget to use this confidence bar, because again, if I make confidence lower, you see I don't have any extra results, but if I make it higher, Kreo will exclude some of my rooms one by one. For instance, if it's written ensuite, it's like lower chance, and you see Kreo excluded first, because maybe it's not what you mean or what you want to get when you input bathroom prompt. So this tool, it takes all the data into account, including written text, furniture, your legend or annotations, and so on. So I hope it's clear about how it works. And basically, just to summarize, you can use these tools like one-click area and auto measure for mostly any similar type of task. When you need to measure like linear object, or area. So if you have any questions about it, also feel free to drop your questions to the chat. And then while we are waiting, I will go next to some MEP drawings or similar to MEP tasks when you need to count something, maybe when you need to count some elements, doors, and windows. So if I go to this drawing here, I see all these annotations with text labels sometimes no. And here we have very nice tool for it called AutoCount. So AutoCount allows you to select any element on the drawing. This can be, for instance, that element. So if you highlight this geometry and you want to search for it, Kreo will do it. And additionally, you have some options. For instance, you can see that some elements here are rotated or flipped. You have all the controls for it. If you have really a lot of background, you can do eraser. For instance, here, you can erase this part of yellow line just to make this search a bit more accurate. And I'll show you how you can handle this task a bit later in another way. And then you press search. Kreo goes through the entire drawing and finds all the same results. Again, rotated are included because this is how I launched it. And very important thing, before pressing create, I can press save for next time. So now I press create, I can input my measurement name, and now this launch is always saved. So if I go to the next drawing, which may have just the same elements, I don't need to highlight it again. I just go to AutoCount, launch the same saved prompt, and you see Kreo finds it perfectly. Then, if you have any text annotations, like in that example again, in this circle, I can have text annotation. Similar text annotation can be related to, I know, windows, doors, maybe beams. Logic is the same. You choose AutoCount tool, highlight your text annotation, press search, and Kreo now will go and search for all the same text annotations with your, I know, round shape. Then, very important, if it's a text, you have this option split by text. And now you can see that Kreo found both for it, AC and T, and all of them, they're divided into two groups, T and AC. Let me scroll if we see some similar. No. So I have only two groups. If I don't need AC group, I just do not press create here. I do not press create here. I scroll to my T and press create here. So you see Kreo creates only T. And the same logic, do not forget to press save for next time before you press create. Okay? What else you can do here? Kreo has really lots of different features how to handle such drawings, like, for instance, recognize smart labels. If you activate this feature will walk through the entire drawing set, through the entire project, and will find all the labels and split them into different clusters or categories, so we can easily get total count of mostly anything here, what is mentioned or annotated with some text. Let's wait a bit for it. And again, just to remind you, feel free to ask the questions. I see we have pretty lot of questions, so we'll cover, or I hope we'll have enough time to cover all of them at the end. But yeah. So while we are waiting here, I just want to say that for similar drawings or any other MEP drawing, maybe some, again, structural drawings, you have very nice feature called one-click line. So how one-click line works, very similar logic to one-click area, but you see, all AI features, they work better when the drawing is scaled. Some features like one-click area, one-click line, they even require scale. So you can go to set scale and set the scale for your drawing, or you can just apply suggested scale. So how one-click line works, when you want to measure any line, you just make a click on the drawing, like I'm making click here, and Creo will create this line for you. Again, the first line can take a bit longer because AI will analyze the entire drawing, but after it's done, you see I have this preview. And now I can continue it, again, skipping some segments and get any linear distance. So for instance, if I go maybe to that drawing, you can see that I have ducks. And the same logic, one-click line, set scale, 1 second. If I want to set my scale, one-click line tool allows me to measure my DAX in different ways, but for instance, I make a click here, I make my next click here, and I get this total size. So it works for any similar drawing, it works for walls, for any other linear size, no matter is it a dashed line. So you can see if I have such kind of dashed line, I can click here and Creo anyway will measure this dashed line for me as well. And as I said, sometimes you may have some background. So Creo has lots of similar nice features, delighters, which make your day-to-day tasks easier. So for instance, here, I may want to remove all this background. So go into special feature called style filter. I have hide background by default. So if I click on it, you see I have much clearer version compared to my previous drawing version with no this gray background, which is especially useful for MEP drawing, but very nice if you have some other drawings with lots of layers, different styles, and so on. And now you can see all these labels are highlighted using recognized smart labels. This feature took some time because I have about 200 pages total, and it analyzes the entire drawing set at once. But now you can see that this label S2 highlighted in the same color as S9. So if you need to count them, you can click on any of them and press count all with AI. Okay? So basically, this is some mainly most important, most commonly used features, AI features in Creo. So I hope that now you have some understanding about how it works. Just to summarize the entire process, you have your templates and your item assembly database, which allows you to keep all this information in your Creo account. Then you have auto measure tool, one-click area, one-click line, and auto count, together with some other AI features like smart labels, renaming for your files. Here you can ask AI to rename all your drawings, and so on. So these features allows you to get all your measurements. Sometimes you need to validate them. Sometimes you need to use one-click area instead of auto measure, for instance, in case you need some specific measurements. But in the end of the day, you can get really very detailed project with all the measurements that you may need and so on. Then you have these reports. And in one click, you can get your final BOQ based on your particular requirements, rules, formatting, and styling. And for sure, you have all these other options like spreadsheet page, table with just all your measurements here. Again, you control how it grouped, and so on. Now we have about 20 minutes more. Before we go ahead to speak about questions, I want to quickly tell you about some recent updates and some upcoming updates in Creo. And then we will go through, I hope, all the questions that you asked. So if we speak about recent updates here, based on our client's request, we added here callout option. So now you can leave a comment which is kind of highlighted to any specific place using such kind of line. And in this comment, again, you can mark your colleagues, you can leave any comment that you need. For instance, Andrew, I know, check it, please. And Andrew gets this comment again live, linked to this particular drawing, this particular page. Another thing that now you can export all these comments. So if you go here, we bit redesigned this panel. We added some additional options, like for instance, for export, maybe some features that you didn't see before, like export company logo, so you can export your company logo. And here you now can have this option, include comments. So if it's activated, Kreo will export all comments to your PDF with all the measurements, or again, some of the measurements if you choose only visible. And here, one more big thing related to how we work with our clients, because we always happy to hear our clients' feedback, feature requests, and so on. So now, if you press here in our CRM system or support chat, you can get our roadmap. You can see it's a bit new. You can ask questions here, report some issues, or request feature. If you click Request Feature, Kreo will ask you about your request, and then you can follow it here in Roadmap section. Here you will see only features that are requested, and you can have, again, some filters here. You can see them in different categories, and so on. So feature request, you can choose by status, and so on. Then, just a couple of minutes about some upcoming updates.
Information about upcoming features and answers to your questions are available only at the webinar. Join the next one.
So we are running out of time. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you for all your questions. So we are going to have such kind of calls each 2 weeks. So feel free to join to the next one. And then if you need any help from our side, don't be shy. Drop us a message through the email, through this live chat, and so on. So thank you all. Have a nice day, and then see you later.
Thank you, Richard. Bye.
Bye.